Hey everybody, welcome to PDQ Live. Today Tara and I are going to take a back seat while Jeff, which we'll assume he'll be there in a bit.
Whoa.
He's there. There he is.
Whoa, guys. Lord
Jeff.
Lord Jeffrey.
There he is, all
Lord
in all
Jeffrey
glory.
from SmartDeploy.
Please.
So we had a
Use my full title.
recent new release of SmartDeploy, and Jeff's here to give us all the ins and outs, the nitty gritty. What's new and fantastic?
Everything.
All right.
Everything about it.
Right. That's your lead in, Jeff, so we'll take it. Run.
Cool. Perfect. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I would be more than happy to go over all the new changes to SmartDeploy. Just kind of going down the list. I think the first thing to talk about is probably the changes to the PE. Windows had some issues with some secure boot bypass and has revoked certain boot files. What this means is they've updated the CVE for their boot manager revocations. So some machines are getting updated. They all need to be updated by 2024. Certain boot files, again, are not allowed. So that put SmartDeploy in kind of pickle. So we updated our PE to allow us to boot to the machines that have received this update and have not received this update. So it's going to work regardless. You know, things to keep in mind about this is with these changes, certain versions of Windows will not be able to boot. So if your machine has received these updates, again, by 2024, it all needs to be enforced and ready to go, but it just won't boot. But SmartDeploy will be ready for those changes once they come.
So by a certain date, wait, I just have some questions. By a certain date, if you have this version of Windows, you're not going to be able to boot your machines. Correct?
If your machine has received these secure boot updates. So if your machine received these secure boot updates, Microsoft says, no, we're not going to use this with secure boot. So you just have to either update your image and then it should work. But if you're using machines that have not received the update, SmartDeploy is going to work regardless of it, if it is or not.
Well, that's a fun little twist. Amazing. So you got to reimage all your machines by this certain date. Great.
Well, you don't need to it's just for reapplying images. So it's just the boot files. Okay. So if your machine received this update and then you're re-imaging, but you're using an old version of Windows or something like that, it won't boot. You just need to get a new image. But if your machine is already running Windows and everything, you don't have to do any changes.
Make new images. Okay, got it. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
So we're all secure.
Have an updated image.
Okay. So we're being nice and secure. Security people are going to be happy with us. Awesome. Sounds like a good one.
We already got Tim, our
got to make those changes.
security expert, saying it's, I don't know what Black Lotus is, has been extra fun to work on. Is Black Lotus tied into what we're having the issues with, or with Secure Boot, or I'm not sure what that one is.
I'm guessing the CVE 2023-23932, perhaps?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. It's a good question.
Tim will comment.
I should find out.
Okay, so that's the first one. We got our security checked off.
That's the first one.
How about, should we talk about the dynamic grouping? That's my favorite one. What do you think about that one, Jeff?
We should talk about the dynamic grouping. And I can share my screen and kind of go through how this all works and what we can do with it.
Sweet. Yeah.
It is the CVE. Look at that. Good old Tim.
Now, you know it's bad when they give it a name.
I know, right? And Black Lotus is kind of an ominous name, too. It's not a good name as far as nicknames go.
Rainbow Puppy wasn't so bad.
Rainbow Puppy. Okay, dynamic groups.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I have my screen here. So if we go to computer management, we have all of our clients checked in here. This is where we can create new dynamic groups. So the way that SmartDeploy used to work is we would just come in here, we would select certain machines. If I stop clicking on the wrong thing, select certain machines, and then we could just right click, manage group, add it to a group. You know, nothing too exciting about that. So what we've done is we created dynamic groups that will actually change and update based on once the client checks in, the workers go, all that information is passed, and they'll be put into their specific groups.
So Jeff, just let me stop you for 1 second. Yeah. So you had static groups before, right? And you had to manually move them in and out of those groups. Okay, so static groups, but now we have dynamic. Yep. Okay, go ahead.
Exactly. This makes it so if you update a machine, change an image, put in new clients, things like that, you don't have to go through and manage it. So if you have just different work environments or, your school and different computer labs, things like that, this will make your life way easier.
Okay, perfect.
So my environment isn't too exciting. I just have, a bunch of virtual machines. So I've created kind of some simple groups here. So the one that I was going to show off is the client version. So we are up to 3.0.1090 right now. These clients are running 1080. I have created a group here. So if I come in here and edit it, I can see I have created just a client filter. If it contains 3.0.1090, put it, or if it doesn't contain this, put it in this group. And then I have another one here where if it does equal to that version, we're going to go ahead and move it into this group. So to show that this will update automatically, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off. So I'm going to select this client and I'm going to push the update to this client here.
And that's the SmartDeploy client update that we're pushing out, correct?
Yep,
okay.
That is correct.
So
yeah.
with the first one being contains, that means if we went out to version 3091, that group would populate again, correct? Because even though it's a newer version than the current one you're looking for, it still doesn't contain the full version there. So is contains best there as that continues before and after, or is there like a less than option?
There's a less than and a greater. I just do it easier on it, but you can do equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than. We can do a bunch of different stuff with it. Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
So I'm running that update here. As some of you might know, the client update's about 90 seconds, so that's going to be about a minute. I'm just going to refresh it on my other side, push that update out. Why this runs through and gets back into this group here, I'll just create a dynamic group to show how this looks. So we can still do just computer groups. So if I just want to select this and create a static group and just select certain machines, I can look up Otacon or Gray Fox, things like here, and then I can just put it into my own group, give it a name. If I don't want to do that, I can do a group filter, which creates that dynamic group here. I'm just going to call this VM. We can set the criteria, so we can either put it contains this and this, or we can do an or function, this or this. So it doesn't matter because it's going to be really simple. So I'm going to hit the plus here. We can grab, many different things within the column here. So make, model, manufacturer, IP, Mac, BIOS versions, things like that. I am going to just do model, and I'm going to just do contains, and then I'm just going to do virtual. All these have virtual in the title that I know, but if I wanted to, I could do model again. I can do contains, just for fun, do VM. Put it as an or, so anything with virtual or VM within here will show up in this group. I'll hit finish, and now all of my virtual machines are within this group.
Now, I just want to call this out because I think it makes a lot more sense. Those filters or those values, those are values that exist in the computer management, and they're really those column headers. That's where you're pulling that data from. Okay.
Yep. So anything within this list is something that we can make a dynamic group for.
Okay.
Oh, we do have someone asking if variables are available. I don't think they are. Is that right?
No.
Okay.
No. But yeah, so I have that group. Everything shows up in here. And then I have my outdated clients here. I push the one to Otacon there. And now that has updated on my machine. And that is going to go within here.
So while we wait for the rest of those updates, do we have any questions that have come in?
We do. Okay, here we go. First question, is this an add-on that can be added if one is already a PDQ owner, or is this a replacement of PDQ? Kendra S.
It's not a replacement for PDQ. You can get a discount if you're already a PDQ customer, right? You can buy this as an adjunct.
Yes,
Separate product.
SmartDeploy does have some packages where they work with initial install, but the full functionality of deploy is not there. So where SmartDeploy really shines is imaging and drivers, which are areas where PDQ is weak. So it is a separate product where if you got both, there's a discount. But it fills in a gap where it does things that PDQ doesn't. So if you've been struggling with drivers or you need to be more active in your imaging, especially for remote users, SmartDeploy is just a fantastic add.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go back see if they've updated.
Yeah, let's go back and see
Jeff, I have a question because I'm a big use case person. So now that I've made my dynamic groups, can you show us some of the actions that we can take on these groups in mass from the computer management tab?
Yeah, you mean what we can push out and what we can do from here?
Yeah, except we can't see Jeff, you guys.
Well, they're sharing with the audience, not us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. We don't need to see him. Okay.
You can definitely change.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Am I coming through?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Yep. So you can definitely add and change these. Again, my environment's not anything crazy. It's just a couple of virtual machines that I pushed out, and I really just pushed out just the update to the one machine here. So that showed up here. This again would work great with the client. I'm sure people will come up with some really cool ways to do this, but once we have machines in our dynamic group. So if I did want to come in here, select all, update all these clients, I could just make sure that those are all in there. That's just a good way to keep it all up to date. You can do things like, if you need to update certain drivers with the platform pack or change computer names, things like that. We can have it domain joined, or another cool thing would be we can check if secure boot is enabled or BitLocker is enabled.
Yeah.
You can have all those machines reporting in, putting to their select groups, just so it's a lot easier to manage.
Yeah. Well, the big thing I thought of with this dynamic group is if I'm isolating a vulnerability and I need to push out a driver or a BIOS update, I could easily isolate that group, and then I can see right there that I could push out this specific driver right from here in mass.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's how SmartDeploy could work well. So if you knew that these machines needed some big BIOS update or a big any driver updates, things like that, we can come in here. We can create a group specifically for that. Have the BIOS version. So I just want to see if all of any machine that contains this BIOS version, I would put this in here. That way, if I need to make sure that those machines have that update, I can push those out, and I know exactly what machines. And then SmartDeploy will do it as soon as the client restarts or as soon as the client heartbeats in. It's going to fix that. It's going to update these, so we know, when it's received that update, when it's checked in, and those are all set.
Yeah, that was the big value add for me when I saw this. Is like, wow, that's an even better way to isolate my vulnerable machines and take action in mass. So I really like that here. And then one of the other great features, this might be a good segue because I see it right here too, is you made some changes in the user migration tool. Do you want to talk about that?
Yep. So basically, one thing that people were asking a lot about was bookmarks for Chrome and Edge.
Yep.
So we've added that. There's nothing additional that you need to do within SmartDeploy. So if I wanted to select and capture the user state from here, I could come in here, select application settings. That's where those changes would be. But now USMT should be pulling those bookmarks. That was something that people have been asking out for a long time. So we did add that for that function.
Okay. And so this is part of the answer file wizard, right? So if I want to capture the user data, I just would put it in my answer file. And then when I'm putting it back on the user's machine, it puts all their files right where they want. I don't have to sit with them. And they ask me 25 extra questions. So yay for me. That's a big time saver.
Correct. Yep. So we can do it in the answer file. So if you're re-imaging, say that there's a new employee or we need to fix the machine or something like that, we can do that. We can do it through the computer management. So if you just need to say transfer machines, get a new machine all set up, capture the user settings from their old machine, they're upgrading, they get a hardware update, we can move that over. This also works locally and it works through the cloud too. So we'll save the migration file, upload it to the cloud. That way you can push it to a new machine.
So your answer file wizard wants you to authenticate. That's rude, Jeff.
I know. I'm over here trying to sneakily type my password on my other screen.
No, it's not letting you.
Type it in clear text in chat.
Yeah, it's fine.
I did that 7 years ago and they forgot about it instantly.
He hasn't been thinking about it ever since, nonstop.
So I did see one checkbox that was a sign of weakness, and it was allow user to defer capture. We believe in full contact IT here. Can we gray out that checkbox?
Well, the fun thing about that defer is it only goes up to it's an hour or 2 hours, and then they got no more choice.
Then you can say hush up.
Yep.
So we'll call that full contact enough IT.
Well, you can uncheck it. Look. Oh, that's driver update. Never mind. Sorry, we're on the different screen. Okay.
Yeah, you can. Oh, yeah. It works in all of them. So you don't have to check this box.
You can be like, shh.
If you want to provide them a courtesy.
We don't, right? No courtesy.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking about user migration. Perfect. I actually really like this function.
Yep. Yeah, the user migration is really nice, especially for those local files. People who maybe not, know machines that much and don't know where they save files, things like that. You can kind of take the guesswork out. Just pull those local files. Yeah. Okay, here's your files, where you left them. We'll create that. Yeah.
I really like that you can say the days too, because the default is 30, but I probably wouldn't want 30. I'd want like a week. I don't want the domain users for the last 30 days. I would toggle that way down if I was migrating.
Yeah,
I would.
Absolutely.
I think it depends on the type of machine. So if it's a remote office where it's a kiosk where a whole bunch of people are logging in, absolutely. But if it's a single user device, I don't know if that matters.
Yeah. But yeah, why bring junk over? I don't know. Okay, so I love that.
No one's logged in my computer machine.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Okay. All right. Should we talk about, we did user migration. You talked about the static groups. You talked about, Jeff, you're just doing so good. You're just going through all these just immediately.
This seems like a good time to pause and take some questions.
Do we have questions? Okay.
I know we have at least one.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we've got a few questions here in the queue. When updating apps, when should PDQ deploy be used versus SmartDeploy? Advantages of one over the other. Sincerely, Gene the dancing machine.
Well, Gene wants to get us in trouble, I guess, huh? That's interesting.
I'll go in. I don't care. I'll go into detail on all of it.
Okay.
All right. So if it's specifically deploy and inventory versus SmartDeploy, if they are remote, deploy and inventory, unless they have a VPN, is not going to be able to access it. So having that option. If you have Connect, I'd recommend Connect in most cases. So when it comes to just pure application update, I think that PDQ, deploy, or Connect are built specifically for that. They have a whole bunch of customization for that. When it comes to imaging and first install, having those packages is nice because you can have the default set and you can use then deploy or connect to, based off the list of software they have, keep those up to date. So in my case, if you have the ability to reach it with connect and deploy for updating software, I would say those 100% of the time, the packaging is for initial image, or if there's something where it's a remote user where you don't have connect, being able to use the agent with SmartDeploy does help get that along.
That's a good answer.
Look at that.
I would follow that up with if you have a large company and you have different departments that use different software, you can make an image for sales, you can make an image for TV, you can make an image for whatever, photographers, and you can save that image with the dedicated software.
Absolutely. Yep.
So I would push the software out right then.
Yeah, and then if it comes down to BIOS or drivers, SmartDeploy 100%.
SmartDeploy wins that too. So they're different.
Right tool for the right job.
They're better together.
They are.
So,
anything to add, Jeff, or did they nail it?
Yeah, I think they nailed it.
I'm a professional.
You are.
I do this for a living.
You do.
You've done this before.
It's weird.
We have another question. If you'd like to, dive in. You want another one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's give you another question. Can the application packs in SmartDeploy get updated to more current versions, maybe pull from the same repo as PDQ deploy? I use application packs, then have to update them with deploy. Sincerely, RHSNR.
We've had this question so many times.
This is a great one. I don't understand, or I don't know the ins and outs of the packaging process for SmartDeploy on how they build it out, so I'll leave that one to Jeff.
Yeah. No pressure, Jeff.
No pressure.
So,
Run, go.
No pressure. So there's a couple of ways that you could really keep these packs up to date. So a very standard one, I'll give an example here, is Chrome, right? So Chrome has the installer file and then it has the run command. To keep this up to date, you would just download, Chrome is a bootstrapper, it's just pulling out, so we don't really need to but we would just come in here, we would delete this file, update with the new file. As long as it's the same name, we can select it. This pack's up to date. We'd save it. So that's how we would keep those ones up to date. Another way that you could do this would be, for example, Teams. So we can get a little more advanced here to where it will go to the site, it will download it, save it as this file. It will then run, install what it needs to, and then clean up after itself. If you're able to do this, your pack's always up to date. That's why we did it with like Teams and things like that. So that way we don't have to keep coming in here and updating these. But there's a couple of ways you can do it. Kind of just depends on the site in which you're downloading it, what the application is, things like that. But in a very standard sense, get the new installer, update the pack, and then it's ready to go.
Boom.
Nailed it.
Okay, Jeff, let's talk about, I'm just going to run down just the other miscellaneous fixes for this release, and then you can add stuff if you want. You ready?
Yep,
the first one, various bug fixes.
That's very, very generic.
Very generic. Okay. The software management where you export records with special characters. I guess there was a bug there. If there were special characters, it would yell sometimes. That's fixed. So if you'd like to export, yay, that's fixed. The Mongo database version got updated. Probably not much to say there. Database update, thumbs up. The service account credential validation got fixed. Any elaboration on that?
So SmartDeploy creates a service account here. So we have administrative share. So if you just want to use admin account, domain admin, cadmin share, things like that, we can do that. The folder share option would be just more of a standard UNC path, share out the folder, access on the network. SmartDeploy creates a shared user account. We were just having a couple little issues with the validation in that. That's just been fixed. This account, you can change it. You can change the password on it. It's something that's just created automatically, but we've just made it a little bit smoother. So we weren't running into these little issues in some environments.
Beautiful. We like that. Okay. Cloud deployment timeout issue. Cloud deployment is one of my favorite features of SmartDeploy. Do you want to elaborate on that? Or is that self-explanatory?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty, we just fixed it. So there's some more time within those cloud deployments before they fail. Some people have kind of sketchy networks or, people working from home, people in different parts of the world, it can be a little sporadic. So we've just kind of fixed it to where, there's less chance of that happening. So those deployments are just smoother. You don't have to worry that they're going to fail. They go through.
Okay, maybe what cloud providers do you support?
We do Box, Dropbox, Google Drive, and OneDrive.
I actually really like that. So you can actually send the device to the person's home, and they can just turn it on and image it right from their house, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, what they would need to do is log in, install the client, so you can share the client with them through cloud, through if you sent them a USB, or if it was pre-installed on the machine, something like that. Once they turn on, that machine checks in here. You could then just select the cloud and deploy. It's asking me to authenticate again. But we would do the cloud again, select our deployment package. That machine will reset automatically. That user wouldn't have to do anything. They just sit back, wait for it to image. Once it's done imaging, if you had an application pack to, install some sort of remote agent or something like that, you can get in there, finish joining the domain, things like that.
Nice. Okay. Should we end on the warm capture?
Well, there's one thing that I feel like we glossed over, or I just missed it because I'm not paying a lot of attention.
Good.
But previously, multiple static groups weren't possible. It was you could have a client could be a part of one static group.
Oh, yeah. So multiple groups are possible, but you couldn't be a member of multiple groups.
Multiple groups, yeah. So if someone has been existing customers, I wish I could be a part of 3 or more. That's now a possibility. I think that's a pretty big value add, especially for people that may have been struggling with the grouping beforehand.
That's true.
So just if you've been hoping for multiple groups, now's your time. Go.
Do it. Put them in all groups. Yeah. Although I got to be honest, I probably wouldn't make any more static groups. I wouldn't.
Well, no, not static, but being able to be part of multiple groups, period, is useful.
True. I'm going to make just a million groups right now.
So now we can do warm capture. We can take a couple of questions that have come in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got them all excited about warm capture.
Do warm capture.
We can do both.
Okay, let's do both.
Warm capture. Yeah, so is there a question?
Nope.
We're all over the place.
What are we doing?
Let's do warm capture.
Warm capture.
All right. I can talk about warm capture.
Well, let's talk about first the fix, right? You can tell us about the fix with the partition not being created?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically there's two types of captures that some of you might know of how SmartDeploy does. There's a cold capture, which targets the virtual hard disk on my machine. So I'm on my physical workstation here. I would come in here. I would select my virtual machine, select it here. That will pull, show me what's available. That would also create the recovery partition. I could be able to select that, right? Mm-hmm. So that hasn't changed. That's the exact same process. We've always had warm capture, which some of you might not know, but a warm capture is independent of the console. So if I'm using, for example, a server VM or something on another machine and I don't want to install SmartDeploy, that's where the warm capture would come in. Mm. How this works is we would create the media. We'd go to create media. Let's mute that again, sorry. With every cloud, there is a refresh token, so we just want to make sure that that's up to date. So we'd come in here, we would create a boot media. We would deselect pretty much all of the platform packs. If you're using Hyper-V or a VM, I would include those platform packs because they have certain network drivers that we'll put in there to make it a little bit quicker. We won't select an answer file. So the idea here is we're going to just boot this into the PE to capture. So we'd go in here. I'd create an ISO. I'd save it. I already did this, but I'd save it as warm capture. I'm just going to replace it. Next, finish. That's going to build that. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do that. So I'll hit cancel here. I'm going to pull over my Hyper-V manager here. So the first thing I would do is I would go to settings. I would mount this warm capture, which I already did. And since it's Hyper-V, I am able to move my boot order. So I'll put this warm capture ISO at the top, and then I will just power on this machine.
The suspense is killing me.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen. Here it goes.
I know. Can you feel the excitement?
It's doing the thing. It's doing its thing, man.
It's actually really a lot faster than I thought. Ours is not this fast.
Imaging in general is not a good process.
No, it's like watching paint dry.
But exciting
I've done this
paint.
a few times.
Exciting paint.
Glitter paint.
Yeah. Jeff is
How
much.
exciting the splash screen is.
He's much faster at this than I am. Let's just go ahead and say that.
Right. Well, that is
times.
loading up, though, I guess. Or unless it's done, I could say we could take questions while it's finishing.
Yep. Oh, it's all done. So we'll in the splash screen here, we'll just go to capture image. We'll go next. Once this pulls up, this is going to start scanning that disk to show us, one, to make sure that everything's installed. There's nothing on it that it doesn't need. Join a domain, things like that you don't want to have on there. I don't have a recovery partition on here, but I just have my local drive here. So I have Windows installed. There was no issues. I'll go next. You can put in a volume license, bake it in here, or put it in the answer file. I'm going to skip that for now. And then we want to put in network credentials. So these will be the credentials of where you're going to save it at. Mm-hmm. Hopefully I typed that correctly. So we'll just do a standard image. The first thing, and most important thing, is we'll hit network first. We'll assign a drive letter. We'll give it a path. So I am just going to use the admin share. I'll hit yes. That's going to map the drive unless I typed in my password wrong, which I didn't. Then I will hit browse. I'll hit this PC. I will find that network path, find a location I want to save this. I'll just save this as an image. Let's just call it Win. I'll just call it Win 10. Give it a name, Win 10. We'll go next and then finish. And then you're all set. This is going to stream it from the server, from the VM, wherever you're capturing it from, to that network path. It's going to build that image. Once that image is created, if you saved it somewhere other than SmartDeploy, we can just move that WIM on over. And that's all there is to it.
Love it.
Boom.
Well, I got some exciting news for you, Jeff. You're about to step into your first lightning round. We're gonna throw questions at you, rapid fire style.
Yes.
All right. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. What is the pricing model? Is it per machine? Sincerely, Curtis J.
It is per deployment. So those are fresh deployments. You can install the client on as many as you want, if you want to manage drivers, things like that. But as soon as you image a machine using SmartDeploy, a new machine, that is going to consume a license. It's going to pull some board and BIOS information, create that license. If you re-image that machine 100 more times, it's not going to consume another license. So it's just per device.
You're not penalized for mistakes. I like it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well done. Let's see if you can do another one super fast. All right. Are there any plans to add screen remote monitoring while the machine is imaging remotely? Matthew B.
Ooh.
Not that I am aware of.
But I dig that.
Yeah.
I like that. I would want to watch it.
That does feel like a feature request. Like I was sending emails like, "Hey, I want this."
I dig that.
All right, we have another question that's somewhat of a two-part question. Are you ready for this? Here we go. Would SmartDeploy be a viable option for mass disaster recovery, ransomware attack, etc., for numerous online but borked domain computers? Very hypothetical question. And then he appends it, appending my previous question, disaster recovery inquiry with, and we don't care at all about their existing data. This is just to get the machine functioning with minimal effort and time. Sincerely, Jeff P.
Is it hypothetical?
It's happened.
I'm going to take a stab at this before Jeff can.
You should.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm the true expert here.
You are.
So it seems to me that if you do have some sort of machine takeover like that and they can stop you from running the agent to kick off an image, it's going to be difficult without having the machine in front of you. But if you can execute that image on boot, no matter how they have it locked down, it should be possible to just put a brand new image and delete everything out.
I went through CryptoLocker, and in my environment, it would have been incredibly plausible. And yes, it would have been the greatest gift ever to have SmartDeploy.
It's hypothetical for me.
It would have been amazing. Actually.
Before we let the actual expert jump in, that's my takeaway.
Talking.
If they can prevent you from kicking off that agent, then you are out of luck without getting your hands on the machine.
Yeah, I could have done it in my
But if you
situation.
can access the agent, I don't see what's going to stop it.
I could have. But Jeff, go ahead. What's your answer?
No, I mean you're completely right, and it has happened. We have customers before where they're in disaster recovery mode. They were able to have access to all these clients. Mm-hmm. So you have all these machines. You can come in here, select, Control A, select all of them, deploy the image. That's going to get that boot media. Machine will reset, wipes everything off of the machine, applies that new image, and then you're all ready to go. It is possible with SmartDeploy, and it has happened. We have helped people through that.
I would have loved it.
Yeah.
All right, that is it for questions. However, Jeff, if people want more information about SmartDeploy, just send them to the website, I'm assuming, smartdeploy.com?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can sign up for a free trial, fully functional trial for 15 days at smartdeploy.com/downloads. That comes with a sales rep who will help you through there and the assistance of myself and everyone on my team.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff.
That's a big selling point. Access to Jeff.
Access to we're selling Jeff is what we're selling. I mean,
We should put that on the website.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. I think it's awesome that we have new features. It's always nice to see, additions and improvements happening to all of our products. Hopefully you get the information you need. This gets everyone excited to go out and start imaging willy-nilly. For PDQ, I'm Jordan.
I'm Tara.
And that's Lord Jeffrey over there. Thanks for joining our webcast today. If this has been helpful, do us a favor, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us your comments. We love your comments. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you back here next time.